In the sad story of little Zayden's life and death, we uncover a scary truth about abuse and neglect that happens at home, hidden away from view. On April 11th, 2019, in Wichita, Kansas, a concerned citizen named Shannon Higgins made a 911 call to the Wichita Police Department. Higgins reported hearing violent cry and sounds of people striking each other coming from their neighbor's residence. Higgins mentioned hearing a woman cry out loudly, which deeply concerned them. Additionally, they witnessed a man pushing a woman into their trailer and then shutting the door. This prompted Higgins to notify the authorities about the alarming situation. Who was the screamer woman? What happened to her? And who was the man pushing that woman? Turnt Media opens up all the secrets behind that mystery. So, stick with us. Patrick Robert Javanovich, age 26, and his girlfriend, Brandy Marchant, age 22, lived in a mobile home park on South Hydraulic Avenue in Wichita. They moved there a few months ago. The Wichita police knew about them because they had been called 22 times in the past year and a half. They used to live on Jade Avenue. People who called included neighbors, Patrick's mom, Donna Lloyd, and even Patrick and Brandy themselves. Many calls were about Brandy wanting to hurt herself. Once, in March 2018, Donna called because Brandy slapped her 11-month-old grandchild, but nothing happened. On February 3rd, 2019, there was a big fight between a couple named Patrick and Brandy. They were shouting and fighting about money, and things got physical. Brandy said she's bipolar and wasn't taking her medicine because her insurance ran out. On January 20th, 2018, Patrick called 911 because Brandy had a knife to her throat, and he was worried. Since then, there have been 18 calls to their house, mostly from Brandy. She said she hit her boyfriend and her baby, and things seem really bad. In June 2018, during a 911 call, Brandy said she was going to her mother's house to be safe from her boyfriend.
Brandy Marchant, but this is I'm calling for myself.
Okay.
My boyfriend tried to touch me, and I pushed him off of me, and I made him hit his head on the wall.
Okay.
And I smacked my son earlier in the face.
Okay. I'm right here, okay? One moment for me.
Kylie, you need to put the pants on. Come here.
Does he need EMS?
I don't know. I don't know. I kicked him off of me because usually when we're fighting, he's really abusive, so I pushed him really hard.
Okay.
Domestic violence was common between Brandy and Patrick. In September 2018, Patrick called 911 worried about Brandy's mental health. In February of the next year, there was another concerning call from their home. When officers arrived, they found Patrick and Brandy at a trailer park. There are different stories about why Patrick and Brandy were arguing. Some say it was because Brandy was upset after a day of her baby crying non-stop. Others say it was over something small like going to the gas station because Brandy felt cold in her shorts. When the police came, they wanted to check on the kids. Patrick let them in, but didn't want them to wake the children. Patrick and Brandy lived in a small trailer with their two kids, Zayan, who was 2 years old, and Ty, who was 4 months old. Ty wasn't Patrick's biological child, which made people think there might be truth to the accusations of cheating. Ty's dad was Julius Casara, but despite Ty being born weak, Brandy kept custody. Brandy also had 2 older sons she didn't have custody of, and Patrick had a daughter who visited on weekends. When officers went in, they heard a baby cooing and found Ty anxious under pillows in his crib, surrounded by more pillows and stuffed animals, which can be dangerous for babies. Meanwhile, Zayan was found face down in his pack and play, covered in his own vomit, wrapped tightly in a blanket and cold. His body temperature was very low, and he wasn't responding. When they unwrapped him, they discovered something even more troubling. Zayan was found wearing footy pajamas, with the sleeves tied tightly around his throat. He had injuries all over his body, showing he'd been hurt before. He was also very hungry. Even though the officers tried CPR, Zayan had already passed away when help arrived. Ty, his younger brother, was taken to the hospital. He was much smaller than he should have been for his age, weighing only 8 pounds. Most babies his age weigh around 15 pounds. Ty also had injuries, a swollen jaw, and 2 healing rib fractures. likely from being hurt before. He had a bad diaper rash that caused a yeast infection too. At the post-mortem, doctors checked his body to see what happened. Zayan had lots of cuts and injuries, especially on his head and body. Some looked like he'd been suffocating with a pillow. He was very underweight for his age, only weighing about 15 pounds when he should have weighed around 27 pounds. Tests showed he had crystal meth in his body, and he was left alone for hours after he passed away. The medical examiner said he died because he didn't have enough to drink or eat, and it was murder. Zayan was buried with a teddy bear and balloons, with Zayan Patrick Javanovich Bubba written on his gravestone. On April 11th, 2019, Patrick Javanovich and Brandy Marchant were arrested and charged with serious crimes related to the deaths of 2 children and endangering others. Patrick was attacked in jail and needed brain surgery. Both emotional appeals are not guilty. Patrick was found unfit for trial due to his injuries and sent to a psychiatric hospital. When officers came to their home, they noticed there was no food. Patrick said he fed one of the boys before work, but didn't realize he was dead when he came home. Brandy said she restrained the child because he was crying too much. She also texted Patrick about the difficulties of dealing with the child before the incident. After Zayan's death, his brother Ty was taken into custody by Child Protective Services and recovered well. Julius Casara, Zayan's father, was kept away by Brandy until Zayan's death. Brandy didn't even let Julius know about Ty until a paternity test. Julius loves his children and eventually gained full custody of Ty. He's an active dad and cares deeply for his kids. Brandy and Patrick pleaded guilty to lesser charges and were sentenced to over 26 years in prison. They'll be in their 50s when released, while Zayan never got to live his life. In the tragic death of Zayan, justice was served with the sentencing of his perpetrators, Brandy Marchant and Patrick Javanovich. However, it's a solemn reminder of the importance of vigilance in protecting children from abuse and neglect. Zayan's story serves as a call to action to advocate for the safety and well-being of all children, ensuring that they are cherished and protected.